This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
44 days until kickoff of college football. Welcome into McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 7 a.m. right here on Jocks. We have college football news notes to get into. ACC Media Days yesterday. FSU, Miami, NC State, Stanford, Virginia were on tap today. You're going to get Boston College, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. Tomorrow they wrap it up with Cal, Duke, UNC, Pitt, SMU, and Wake. We'll hear from some of the coaches, players at ACC Media Days from yesterday. There's an athletic director that apparently now looks like he is safe. We'll talk SEC Media Days. Couple different quotes around college football that I need some explaining on. And Texas Tech is back in the news. Just when you thought it was gone, it isn't. We will discuss it more. The coach Wim Sanderson with us at 9 today. Justin Hokanson is going to talk to us about Auburn Baylor and the NIL implications that are going to come with that game. Roddy Jones will be with us in 20 minutes to give us his thoughts on ACC Media Days thus far. Anything you heard, anything you liked, anything you took away from coaches, players, ACC Media Days yesterday, G-Mac?
Well, I listened to a lot of the Mike Norvell. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you found it as interesting as I did, but I just thought a lot of the stuff that he was saying, kind of embracing the pressure, but also at the same time, just kind of the level of praise he had for his team. And just reading through the tea leaves, and look, you got to take every single comment made at Media Days with a grain of salt. But it sounded like he liked his team. I don't know if you got the same vibe from him. Just sounded like he felt pretty good about his roster, had decent buy-in, sounds like he had decent leadership. He cited Deuce Robinson could have gone to the NFL, maybe a first-round pick. Instead decided to come back and kind of finish what he started. There was just a handful of things that he said yesterday that made me feel pretty good about him. So that was probably the biggest takeaway from yesterday. I was real curious to see how he's handling this season where he's on the hot seat.
You like a coach saying, I don't think I'm coaching for my job. That's not a real thing, even though we know that that's probably the case, that he is coaching for his job?
I just think he's not worried about it. Like, he's not thinking about it. Like, it's not front of mind for him. Like, the front of mind aspects of his part is going to be more about, all right, well, how can I get this team over the hump? And yes, he understands that. And he's also said that, he said, I don't feel any more pressure this year than I did any other year. I don't feel like, first of all, coaching for your job, like, you're coaching for your job every year. Everyone's 1, 2, and 10 away from being in legitimate trouble. I mean, you saw a guy, go from getting a contract extension to fired in a 6-week span. Like, it's not that uncommon. So that didn't bother me. No. I mean, I think it's a dumb question, frankly, for those that might have asked it.
I think I probably would have asked him, but it's okay. I ask a lot of dumb questions.
You asked that question?
No, I would have asked him about maybe coaching different this year than some other years when the rumors were circulating about you being gone. I think it's a fair question that he's in a different place, and to ask him a question about being in a different spot and how he handles things differently. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean,
you're coaching for your job. You would have asked that question. I know you. There's not a chance in heck you would ask that question.
Not only are you coaching for your job, but just how are things going to be different for you this year, based on how your tenure's gone, essentially knowing it needs to be good this year or you're probably out. Based on what they've done in the portal, based on some guys he's bringing in, I think there's some evidence he's handling things in a little bit of a different way. Is he going to actually coach the games in a different way? No, you go out there, you run your stuff, you try to win. It's kind of what it is. This is Mike Norvell explaining one of the hires that he has made this offseason yesterday at ACC Media Days.
It'll be an assistant to the head coach, and he'll work a lot with me, just situationally, but also going to kind of provide different perspective for Tony and the defensive staff. He came through in spring, something we kind of generally discussed. He still had his finalized his situation there, but came back in the summer, really sat down and talked about role. Tom is extremely intelligent. A guy that's been a great coach throughout his career, doing some wonderful things. But I think he can come in and really provide unique perspective, different experiences. I was glad that it was able to work out to have him here for this year, and what he's going to be able to provide for the staff, and just continue to help elevate us in all different areas.
So he would talk more too about Ashton Daniels, bringing him in. I saw some comments from Ashton Daniels, Greg, about winning that job and how he had to go win that job. He said he felt good from the beginning, but talked about some of the emotions of when Norvell told him he was going to be the starter, and I was actually a little surprised that it took as long as it did. What do you make of some of Ashton Daniels' comments with Mike Norvell about his fit in that offense and how that might be looking for the Seminoles this fall?
I don't know. I don't really make a lot of it. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way. I think it's an interesting hire, but another set of eyes is never going to be hurtful, especially with a guy that's had some success as a head coach, has been around, that has seen a lot, and has been very, very good when it comes to scoring offensively for a long time. So I didn't make as much out of it as everybody else did. I think it's just an extra set of eyes. My question is, do they have a relationship? Because I never knew they had a relationship. Where would they have connected or overlapped at any point?
I don't think that. I mean, maybe traditional recruiting when he was coming out of high school. He's a Georgia kid, so I know he was. I'm trying to think where Norvell would have been. I guess Norvell would have been in Memphis when he was in high school. So I don't know if there would have been a traditional recruiting relationship there. He wasn't extremely highly recruited. I know Ashton Daniels wanted to go to Auburn out of high school. His dad played at Auburn, or his uncle played at Auburn, and that's what he wanted to do and didn't get the offer, goes out to Stanford. So maybe that would be where it was. I don't know.
Maybe, but it just seems strange. There's this whole connection here that has been materialized that I'm just having a hard time understanding why. I guess I just wouldn't have known the track record of the history, I guess, is the big thing. That was what I was having a difficult time trying to understand.
Well, they're going to have to put it together, and maybe a prior relationship is going to help. Maybe that'll be something that you look at and say they're going to be able to get this offense moving. An offense that I think we believe is just going to move this year in the ACC is going to be Miami. Darren Mensah, new Miami quarterback, discussing yesterday how staying in the conference could help him this upcoming season.
I think it's just adds a little bit of familiarity to my preparation, but I feel like I've been here before, and I won in the ACC last year and won it, so I feel like I can go and do the same thing with the squad this year.
Also, Darian Mensah on leaving Duke for Miami.
Yeah, I think when it came down to it, I wanted to elevate my draft stock. At first, I was really focused on NFL, my NFL opportunities, and my team and I thought it was a better decision to come back to school, and then so we pivoted to Miami. And I think that seeing what the last two dudes did at the position, I think was a really huge factor into my decision.
They got good reps out of Carson Beck last year. You and I have talked about it on the show, Greg. He probably had a better season than he gets credit for. Where can Miami be different? And this could be positive or negative, maybe both. What's different with Darren Mensah as opposed to and what they're capable of as opposed to what they were capable of with Carson Beck?
I think it's a good question. I think there's a little bit more of a willingness to test things vertically. I just have always wondered, is that Carson Beck or is that the style of offense he ran at both Georgia and at Miami? Because he was always a bit of a dink and dunk player. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, a big, strong, tall guy. I just never remember him really ripping it down the field. It wasn't often where he was throwing go balls. And there's nothing wrong with being a smart, methodical player, but I just feel like a vast majority of his career was spent throwing checkdowns, throwing screens, throwing it at or behind the line of scrimmage, short throws, and it's just that's not Darian Mensah. He wants to rip it and drive it, intermediate throws, tight windows, And that's I think where it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be, I think they're going to mold into a bit more of a play action team, back to the defense play action team, and then let Mensah just come off his reads and just absolutely drive it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I see it going. It'd just be really interesting to see if it holds up that way, because if it does, man, look out with Fletcher and company and a bit of a new offensive line trying to break it in. Like, I think there's a lot to like with how that could come together.
We look at this Miami team. I actually felt like we heard a decent amount about Mark Fletcher at ACC Media Days yesterday, which I was excited about because I don't know if enough people talk about him over the course of the entire offseason. We heard a lot about Mensah. I know if you look at the Heisman odds, he's there, but are we still underselling Malachi Toney just in general?
For sure.
I just don't think enough people are talking about what he brings to the table every single week.
Do you think there's a better pound-for-pound player in college football?
Not glaring, no. I mean, we could have arguments.
Like, I'm talking pound for, like, all right, everybody knows Jeremiah Smith's a freak. Like, you put a guy out there that's 6'3", 220 that can run, like, he's going to have an advantage over just about everybody he plays. Malachi Toney's built like Damian, and doesn't matter. Like, the guy is just, give him the ball, he can literally do anything.
He can return kicks. We can put him at quarterback. He's a capable thrower at quarterback. It's not just a complete gimmick.
Right.
I mean, it's
he could play 7 different positions on the field.
Yeah, and I don't think enough people are looking at it, talking about maybe what it is, what he brings, what he can add, and he makes them very different. He makes them very difficult to defend, and don't really feel like I'm hearing enough people nationally talk about kind of what he is or what he could be. And he's the one that you mentioned Fletcher going north and south. It's going to be hard for that O-line to be what it was last year, specifically if you end up starting 2 true freshmen. I realize they're highly recruited, highly thought of, but that's tough. And you've got a guy now that you can motion him, you can hand it to him east and west, you can screen him, you can hit him down the field, put him at quarterback, just let him run the football if you need to. I mean, he's a dude and deserves a lot of conversation and can really, really make that Miami offense very different.
Very.
Well, maybe team, if we're talking about returns too. I mean, he can make the team different.
Yeah. I think I'd be hard pressed saying, I'm talking about just straight football playing dudes. I'm not sure there's a lot better than him. He can literally do anything. There's only a handful of guys I've seen that are offensive players. I've seen a handful of defensive players. You know, I've seen Jalen Ramsey. I've seen Caleb Downs. Like, you could probably play them at 7 or 8, maybe 9 different defensive positions. They'd be fine. There's a bunch of versatile defensive players where you put them anywhere, they're going to figure it out. Offensive players, you're kind of pigeonholed nowadays. There's not a lot of Swiss Army knife offensive players. All right, you might have like an overgrown tight end that can play a jumbo slot, you know, like a Brock Bowers. There's not that many Swiss Army knives anymore where you put them at running back, quarterback, wide receiver, slot, tight end, doesn't matter. How many truly versatile offensive weapons are there?
Not a ton anymore. We talked about this in all sports. It's all specialized now. It's all, sure. You're the left slot receiver. I mean, we know teams and schemes that have left receivers and right receivers. So, yeah, there's not a lot of guys that can just go do anything. I mean, you look at an Eli Stowers last year, and he was fairly versatile, lined up different places, did different things. So you lose a lot of that. These backs that can just go line up in the slot and run routes like Marshall Faulk seemingly could. There's not as many of those, I don't feel like, even though you want sort of that dual threat out of the backfield. But not that can do what he does. They can just literally line up anywhere and do anything. And he's going to be fun to watch for Miami this year. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Another team that I thought made some noise in – how do I say made some noise in a quiet way? Maybe they made it to me just because the confidence that I heard from multiple guys on their team. But Dave Dorn talking about what to expect from his program this year because of maybe what they have been.
As media, a lot of times your job is to talk about what we don't do well. Today I get to talk about what we do well. And I think having staying power, being a consistent winner, we've won the second most number of games in the ACC. In the last 6 years, we've won the second most number of conference games and non-conference games. And with that being said, I'm sick of being second. And these guys know that. We're here to do more. And that's what drives us.
It's a team, Greg, that has some vets, has some guys that played a lot of football, and we know the style of football they're going to play. And if I were Dave Doeren and my quarterback situation was becoming a little bit more comfortable, and I knew the kind of physicality and I knew the kind of power my team was going to play with on a consistent basis, and that was going to give me advantages, I might go into the season with some confidence too. And we have not had a lot of NC State conversations on this show this offseason. Probably should have, but we haven't. I love the confidence that I heard not only from Dave Doeren, but some of his players yesterday.
Yeah, and I think Dave Doeren's one of the more – I just have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a great coach. I really do. I think he's done a really good job. Over the course of his tenure, the team plays tough. I do think they're a little bit strapped for resources, but he makes it work, man. And like he knows how to go out and identify guys and develop guys. I mean, look at how many guys he puts on all ACC teams every year, and he's not recruiting at the level of that of some of his competition. Look how many guys that
look how many guys he puts on all SEC and all Big Ten teams every year.
Exactly. How many guys on his roster are highly sought after prospects in the portal every year? You know what I mean? Like a ton. So that to me is an indicator of a great coach. And I think his personality really fits NC State. Just chip on the shoulder, don't care about what anyone thinks. Like we're just going to go out and play ball. Like I think he is ideal fit for who they are and what they want to be.
Don't think there's any doubt about that. All right, we'll talk a little bit more from ACC Media Days. Roddy Jones there in person, obviously covers the ACC. He'll be with us on the other side to discuss what to expect today. There are some headliners that are going to be there in Charlotte today, some that normally make some noise. How much does he anticipate that they will make this time around? Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. Recognized as America's most trusted brand 12 consecutive years. You can rely on a Trane. Find a comfort specialist near you near Trane.com. All right, so when we come back, more on ACC Media Days with Roddy Jones next on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere, in the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
One thing about NC State, who we just mentioned from ACC Media Days, is that schedule. We heard from Dave Doeren. We will talk a little bit more about ACC Media Days with Roddy Jones in a few moments, but you look at that schedule for NC State, Greg, it's one of the lighter schedules in the league. Now, they have a non-con at Vandy week 3. They're at Virginia to open the season, which is odd. You get a week off. That's week 0. You get Labor Day weekend off, and then you get Richmond, App State after Vandy, Louisville at home, Wake, week off. Then you're at Stanford, which obviously is a weird trip, but you do get the week off before it. Then you get Cal at home, Duke at home, Syracuse at home, and then you finish the season on the road at Florida State and at UNC. I mean, Florida State could have a fork in them by that time. They have no idea what to anticipate from UNC this year. We talked to Taylor Tannenbaum about them yesterday. Can it be much different? The schedule's there. If they can find a way for a few things to operate consistently, that they could put together a really nice season.
Yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, the schedule so much in the ACC is so big because there's such a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. I mean, look, top of the league, where you're playing them, when you're playing them, when they fall in the schedule, do you avoid them altogether? You look at NC State, for example. Like I think NC State could get to the dang ACC championship game partly because of just who they play and where they play them. That's the entire – they have a lot of questions on their roster, but I like their quarterback. I like their mindset. I like their schedule. So it's a strange league where if you get the right schedule and the chips fall your way, you got a real chance.
Absolutely. All right, let's bring in Roddy Jones. He works for ESPN, covers the ACC. They're at ACC Media Days. We were just talking NC State, Roddy, so I'll bring you in on the conversation. I love what I heard from Dave Doeren yesterday. Not that I should have been surprised by any of it, but confidence, just referencing his team, kind of some of the things happening in the weight room in the offseason. But you look at that schedule, too. Like how far can they go? How big of a surprise could NC State end up being this year?
It is always great to chat with you boys. I appreciate you having me on. That is a dangerous question to answer, Cole, because I am with you and Greg. Like, I really like NC State, and I think Greg nailed it. You look at what Virginia did last year and somewhat what Duke did last year, making it to the ACC championship game. A lot of it is like, who gets good, consistent quarterback play? You're going to need probably a little bit of turnover fortune or close game fortune over the course of the season outside of Miami. And then who's got the friendly schedule? NC State they will be improved defensively with DJ Elliott in his second year on defense. I have faith in that. They've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, CJ Bailey is the top quarterback returning in terms of QBR in the ACC over Darian Mensah. He was second only to Carson Beck last year. Duke's got at running back, had a really nice finish to the season. He's a big, strong, fast back that I think will be an absolute star in the league. But then there's the history of NC State and the number of times they've been knocking on the door in the Dave Doeren era. I mean, he's been there 14 years, and there's probably been 3 or 4 of them where you think that is a good enough team to make the ACC championship game, and they lose at Clemson on a last-second field goal, or they or they have a quarterback injury with Devin Leary a few years ago, or they blow a lead against one of the teams down the stretch, Duke being one of them. So there's history fighting NC State. But I think in terms of sleepers in the league, they are as good a candidate as anybody, and a lot of it has to do with the progression of CJ Bailey and the attitude and culture of that team, which I think will absolutely come to play on a week-in, week-out basis.
So when you look at CJ Bailey and what was lost, I think CJ Bailey's great. I'm just curious about the personnel around him. I mean, you lose a Hollywood Smothers, you lose a Noah Rogers, you lose a Jacarius Peak. I mean, what's their returning cast look like? What's the supporting cast look like around him?
Yeah, I think, the Hollywood Smothers departure is big, but, we running backs, we kind of grow on trees. And I think Duke Scott is an absolute fine, and maybe even better than fine replacement. I mean, he rushed for 196 yards against Georgia Tech. Not that Georgia Tech's defense was like, the 84 Bears, but in that game, Georgia Tech came in with all the momentum, and NC State ran it down their throats at Duke Scott, and then he rushed for almost 100 yards in the bowl game. So I think they're going to be fine at running back. Receiver's the big question. Like, they lost everybody at receiver, and they were getting back Teddy Hoffman this year, but then Teddy Hoffman tested positive for a banned substance, a performance-enhancing substance in the offseason, so he's suspended for the year. So that is the biggest question. Replacing Justin Jolie at tight end, replacing all the receivers they've got. They get JoJo Trader in from Miami, who was a massive recruit and really like a brother to CJ Bailey out of South Florida. Went to Chaminade Madonna, played with Jeremiah Smith and CJ in high school. He showed flashes at Miami, but he also had a case of the dropsies. So maybe reuniting with CJ, a guy who he's super close with. They've played together since they were 7 years old, and at times I've heard JoJo basically lived with CJ Bailey. So maybe reuniting with him can unlock some of the potential of JoJo Trader, because he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, big time recruit. Outside of that, man, like, it is going to be a cast that I think is elevated by a really good run game and a really good quarterback. But that is the massive question about NC State, is the offensive playmakers.
They're going to win line of scrimmage in a lot of games. I don't think there's any doubt. I've watched their D-line this offseason, like what they're going to have there. Then that's just kind of what they give you every year. Roddy Jones joining us on the Higginbotham Highline talking ACC Media Days. Clemson will be there today. What do you anticipate? What's the messaging? What needs to be discussed? Does Dabo make a lot of noise? Is this a calmer visit? Obviously, he will be annoyed with some of the questions about last year. I think we all understand that. But is he past it, focused on this year? What do you anticipate?
I think we will get a calm, confident, a little understated Dabo today. He will not make excuses about last year. And nor should he. Like, the standard at the Clemson is that has been set by him was not met, and has not been met for a while, to be honest. Most people will ask about the quarterback position. That's the biggest question that I have. You're going to hear the name Tate Reynolds a lot, who is a freshman coming in, who is 6'3", 220 pounds. Like, I've been told he looks, like a fifth-year senior physically. The question is, can he play? And there's the Clemson, whenever you talk about Clemson and freshman quarterbacks that start getting hype, you automatically go to Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Like, based on the high school reports of Tate Reynolds, he's not those guys. And honestly, you'd have to be, the number one recruit in the country to think that he was going to live up to those guys. But I think the question becomes, what do we see out of Christopher Vezina week 1 at LSU? And if it does look like it's a little shaky for Christopher Vezina, I do think there's the potential that we could see Tate Reynolds based on the reports, but you can only believe so much. So Vezina is a guy that threw for a ton of yards against a bad SMU pass defense last year in his only start, but he looked good. He was not the reason they lost that game. So he'll have to answer questions about that. I actually am kind of more bullish on Clemson than a lot of people. I think we will overreact to the record last year, and we can sort of point to it as like is this a sign of the Clemson culture and all that? Like, that was really the first year where they drastically underachieved relative to the talent. And I think there's a few reasons you can point to. I think their highly paid guys didn't play well. They don't have the same level of stardom and probably not the same level of NFL talent, at least NFL-ready talent right now. But they've got really good players. Like Sammy Brown, who was a freshman last year, is an absolute star at linebacker. Will Helt on the defensive line was their best defensive lineman. They've jumped into the portal and gotten some pieces that I think could be really good for them and really infused the program with some hunger. The questions and the receiver core is legit. Like Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore are phenomenal, and they're in their draft eligible years. So they should be even better. And if you get freshman year Tyler Brown, then it's probably the second most dangerous receiving core in the ACC behind Miami. The question is going to be quarterback, a little bit offensive line. How much can that offensive line, I'll say improve, but I think they underachieved basically like the rest of the team outside of Blake Miller. And then there's some questions at running back, but I think they'll be fine there. But Clemson was not as bad as its record. The talent was obviously not as bad as its record. So if you fix sort of between the years of the Clemson program, then I think there will be a natural progression back to 8, 9-ish wins, because it's still, on paper, probably the second most talented team in the league. And I think the NFL draft picks last year would certainly support that.
So when you look at kind of where the league is, and we asked Taylor Tannenbaum this yesterday, and I'm fascinated by your thoughts, because I look at Clemson as still very capable, still very talented, like you referenced. I look at NC State, they could be a spoiler. I look at some of these other programs, SMU, Louisville. I'm not sure which way I lean. I lean Louisville, but a lot of people like SMU. Who do you think is the next up behind Miami?
I'm with Louisville right now. I'm with you, Greg. The Louisville defense, the SMU defense scares me a little too much. That defense really took a step back last year. And they lose Scott Simons, and they lose a ton of experience on that defense, really on the defensive line and in the secondary in particular. So their defense scares me a little bit. But SMU has the quarterback, and Louisville has the quarterback question. The thing that I like about Louisville is that running back room. Like Isaac Brown, and certainly in the ACC, he's the best home run hitter at running back that there is. And I think you could argue that when he's healthy, he's the best in the country. He had a phenomenal freshman year, was really banged up last year, and was never able to get back to full strength. But even behind him, like Kewan Brown has been fantastic as well. I am fascinated by what Jeff Brom is going to do with Lincoln Kienholz, because he hasn't had the mobile quarterback since he's been at Louisville, and really you go back to his Purdue days, like has not had a mobile quarterback. And I talked to him about it at ACC spring meetings, and he mentioned going back to his Western Kentucky days. Like he has not had a guy who can run it as well as Lincoln Kienholz. So and it was something that he was looking for. How does that offense evolve when the quarterback's legs are going to be used as a weapon? Tyler Shuck was very mobile, but they basically kept him in bubble wrap so that he'd stay healthy, and it worked. He had a phenomenal season, was a second-round pick. But how does that offense evolve, and how does it help Isaac Brown when you've got a guy like Lincoln Kienholz who can make some noise in the run game as well. And then I think, getting Trey Richardson was big for them. Having a guy who has made as many big plays in the SEC as him coming over, even though he didn't participate in spring, he was banged up. I think it's going to be a big addition. So I really like this Louisville offense. I think Cleve Lubin on defense is a really good player, and they got some other really good defensive linemen in. So I like Louisville as that number 2 team.
Richardson forces teams to defend you in different ways. Not even him touching the football, just that speed makes things different. Is SMU the clear number 2 in the league for you?
No, I think it's Louisville. SMU, I like SMU and I like Kevin Jennings. I think that offense is going to be really good, but defensively they were so bad, especially against the pass last year, that I'm scared away from SMU just a little bit. I think SMU is going to be really good. I give Louisville the slight edge. And then, you look at some other teams. I think people are a little too quick to write off Virginia this year. They're not the number 2 team in the league. They're probably like 5-ish, but they're not a team that I'm hearing talked about enough. And when you look at what they brought in portal-wise, they had to portal in a lot, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But when you look at what they brought in, there's a lot of pieces to like. And I think culture-wise, because of what they've had to go through in the Tony Elliott era, that culture is pretty well entrenched. And I think Des Kitchings is a pretty underrated offensive coordinator. So Louisville's number 2 for me. Then it'd be SMU, Clemson. But don't sleep on Virginia. It was not a one-hit wonder for the Hoos. And I think I don't know that Bo Prabula fit the Missouri offense as well as the way that they will tailor the Virginia offense to Bo Prabula. So I think you could see the best of him at Virginia this year too.
That's an interesting thought. I'll be interested to see that. And then obviously being healthy, big for him as well. Roddy, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. Enjoy Media Days. We'll catch up soon.
Appreciate it, boys. Talk to you later.
There you go. Roddy Jones talking ACC Media Days with us. Before we move on to discuss some thoughts we have on what Roddy said, if you're looking to move out of your home, Greg, who should you call?
It'd be Crocker Movers. There's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. And you can trust them in your home. If your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also will do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMoveServices.com. That's CrockerMoveServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Move Service for your next move.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about the ACC Media Days. It'll get going today before we go off the air, but I have a different topic involving things that we have or have not watched that I want to get into. We'll start that right after this on Jocks.
Keys? Check. Seatbelt? Check. Jocks 94.5 on your preset? Locked in. Your ride's not ready till Jocks is on. Jocks 94.5, your daily drive done right. Turn it on, lock it in.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:38, Thursday, July 16th. A lot of ways you can listen to the show. Online, jocksfm.com. The app is in your App Store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Always take that with you. That'll direct you to individual interviews, hours of the show. You can also be directed to the YouTube page. Search Jocks945 if you want to watch the show live each and every day. And if you're tooling around your house, want to listen, tell your home smart speaker to just enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. They do an amazing job. All you got to do is just take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll understand. They give you tremendous deals that keep people coming back, like a 2026 GMC Sierra 2500 four-wheel drive. It's a Denali Ultimate trim level. Unbelievable. Unbelievable trim level. Beautiful heavy-duty truck. $99,000 is what you pay locally. Take the short drive up there, you pay $88,000. You save $11,000 by just taking a short drive to Coleman up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31, going and seeing Andy Cole. There's a reason why they sell more vehicles than anyone in the entire Southeast. There's also a reason why I've been named the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers the last 6 years. There's also a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take a short drive to Coleman, you'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, GMAC going to move on and do some television. We will continue talking college football, also some other topics of conversation that we want to get to. I have to ask you guys this, though. We haven't had a conversation about things that we have been watching, want to watch, are going to watch. And I'm not sure that I have been sort of taken in by a movie trailer in a while, like seen a movie trailer and then thought to myself, like, I got to go see that. I need to go see that. This I Play Rocky movie trailer has dropped, and just interested in kind of what the thought process is behind it. Just off the trailer, I thought I knew like a decent amount about Stallone, the movie, his background. I knew he wrote it. I knew that was like a real thing, but I don't know if I knew exactly as much background as already has been alluded to in just the trailer of how he actually made this happen. John is making mug faces right now. You're out on this already?
No, I'm nodding. I knew when I saw it, I was like, Cole's going to be in on it, and Greg probably will be too.
Why
I
me?
need to see the trailer. I've never seen the trailer.
Man, come on, guys. Yeah, it's on social media. You guys got to stay in your phones. You know, be like kids. Get in your phones.
I hadn't seen it.
I mean, I think it dropped yesterday. It's not like it's been out for like a month or something. It literally just dropped. But I know that you know, or I know that you, Cole, like these kind of stories about how things come to be.
Yes.
And when I knew that this was a story, okay, yeah, this is what this is what Cole wants. I knew it.
I had no idea that he had to force himself into being the lead role.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I knew that.
Like I knew he wrote it.
Yeah, they were trying to replace him, and he said, nah, son.
And offered him a lot. I mean, I didn't know he was parking cars in L.A. I mean, I knew a little bit of his background, but not enough. But just seeing how it comes together and then seeing some of the parameters they put around him with how it's going to be made. I don't know. Damian, Rocky a little before your time, but when you saw this trailer, are you in? Out?
I hadn't seen it yet. I hadn't seen the trailer.
Where did you see the trailer? What was it advertising on?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how I missed it.
I don't know how I missed it
But
either.
I know Rocky, though. Like, yeah, I'd be interested for sure.
Okay. Well,
What's interesting is the guy that plays Sylvester Stallone, who does
26.
it
I've
well.
never heard of him.
Yeah.
He's got him.
Oh, so it's a
down.
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a biopic. And
But the guy who plays him also played Al Pacino's character in The Offer. So he makes a habit out of basically doing impressions.
he's got him down.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's awesome.
Interesting.
And
I was under the impression, the way you described it, I was thinking it was a documentary. It's not. It's like an actual
it's a
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Do we know what Stallone's involvement is in the movie, John?
That I don't know. No.
I'm going to say producer, director, money, everything.
Ghost Rider.
Fully vertical.
I mean, sometimes, though, if you want it done the right way, you don't want the involvement to be to that extent because you want to be able to tell the truth about some things. Now, you need the whole story, but you also – there are going to be some things that maybe that person doesn't want you to tell. So, I don't know. We're going to have to wait for Damian, I guess, during the next break to go watch the trailer. Why don't we just run the trailer when we come back? Is it that long? How long is the trailer?
I felt like it was 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes.
It's long. Yeah, it's long. But it would give people a chance to hear the guy that's playing him. Anthony Ippolito, is that correct?
I don't know. I've never heard it said.
We'll go with it.
Okay.
Whole AI.
Directed by Peter Farrelly.
Oh,
So-
wow. He's changed a bit. He's gone from he's one of the Farrelly brothers, as in Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber, and decided
Isn't that
to
the
go
way it
this route.
usually works, though? Like, they can
Yeah.
only get stupid stuff, and they're always waiting to do the real thing?
Kind of. They realized, we can't make funny movies like this anymore.
Kind of
so,
like Steve Carell in The Morning Show?
Yeah. I'll go make Green
been
Book
waiting
instead.
to not play the idiot?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it a little bit more on the other side. See if we can't let you hear just like a little bit of the trailer and how it goes. And then I want to know, like, are you in? Because I haven't been this excited about a movie in a while, just because maybe some of the story that's going to be told, and it looks like the casting is going to be incredible as well. We'll talk about it more right after this.
Jocks 94.5 is live on YouTube every weekday, plus video shorts and podcasts. Find us at Jocks 94.5 and smash the subscribe and like button so you never miss a moment. Jocks 94.5 on YouTube.
All right, so we asked the question, because we haven't talked shows, movies, TV in a while, and the off season's winded down, so we only have a month or so, 44 days to jam a couple of things in. Now, this
yeah.
doesn't come out until November. Of course, football season. Come out. Great. Thanks. So squeeze that in.
You'll see it next July.
Probably.
Maybe lettuce week.
Possibly. Maybe a Tuesday date night. Go see this. Peter Gamble wrote it. And I'm on the IMBD for I Play Rocky, and I don't see a ton of Stallone all over this. So I don't know what his exact involvement is. I don't know if he, from a production standpoint, kind of where he is. Looking at the producer list right now, he's not on it. So I don't know if that's good or bad, John. I actually look at it as good as long as you at least had conversations with him about how it went to try to clarify things best you could. And maybe that's what he wanted it to be. Like, hey, I'll tell you the story, and then you sort of take it.
You go from there, yeah.
And you put it together. But, Damian, you watched the trailer during the break. I Play Rocky. You in or out?
I'm in.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good.
John, you didn't give us your thought on what you think it will be. If you're in, if you think you'll like it, if it looks like it'll exceed expectations.
I'm in on it. Why I think I'm a little more in is that it seemingly has little involvement with Stallone. My worry was that, not that it's not an intriguing story, but part of the reason, like with Michael, it was all about that. And so like you got some of the stuff from his child, but you didn't get everything. You got like most of the good stuff. It's like, well, this ain't everything that was there. But that's part of the reason why some biopics I think don't work, is that they just want to give you the good stuff and not necessarily everything that happened. Yep. And so with hearing or looking like Stallone's not that much of all, it's like, okay, maybe we're going to get kind of the true story as opposed to just what Stallone wants you to remember, not necessarily like his potentially first acting job, which I can't really talk about much with this being a family show.
Are you have you seen the Michael?
No, not yet.
I have.
How was it?
I think it's a good time, but not a good movie.
Right.
From what I haven't seen it, I don't know, but
because it stops like right before he crosses into like the bad era,
and it's
so it's really nice to him.
No, seriously, it is.
Yeah,
it is. And they try to,
and like John said, that's not all it.
Exactly. Like they try to be sympathetic of how he grew up, which I mean, you can kind of, I mean, being a superstar at 9 years old, sure. I can only imagine. But then when he goes solo,
but you don't need to excuse.
Correct. Yeah. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, maybe there's more of that in the inevitable sequel.
Right.
Maybe they're going to do that. Maybe it's just more of a get you the good stuff now, and then by the way, we're going to hit you with tragedy later. But
yeah,
we'll start it off with the nice stuff. We don't know that for sure, but
it started. I had a conversation with like my parents about it, and I've asked them. I was like, is there anybody in today's era that can match like how popular somebody is? And they're like, no, like you don't understand how famous like he was. I was like, I get it. Like he was on top. And then
Taylor's getting close.
I would say she's the only one I think you can even have a conversation about.
Yeah.
And then I do think that I don't know if she crosses as many demos as he did. And that's where he was extremely different, is that every demographic on the planet had a portion of their population that loved him and that was obsessed with him. And I mean, I just like, do I think that 80% of the white girls running around America love Taylor Swift and probably go crazy at her shows? Yes. But like people were literally passing out.
Correct.
They were picking them up and passing them to the stage, like to give them to security. Like it's just that you also didn't have as much to choose from. You were force fed a lot of your entertainment. And so it was a different time where I don't want to say you were forced to fall in love with stars like this, but you didn't really have a choice a lot of times because you didn't have a lot of crossover. Like I talked about on Twitter Dr. Dre's first album the other day. And I'm like, has there been a more impactful album on their genre than that? Because to me, that's the one that brought in multiple demographics to hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
And so that was the one, that was the first one that I remember going to school that my friends that listened to Dave Matthews Band or Megadeth or whatever, they're like, yo, have you heard this? Like they were into it.
Yeah.
And that you didn't get that from a lot of other artists back and forth. I think he transcended culture in maybe more ways than anybody does now. And that's what was different. So you think about too, like what commercials were back then. Like commercials are not a big deal anymore. If you're in a commercial,
Right.
it's not a big deal. Like
Right.
you sought out certain people in commercials when he was at the height of his popularity, and his commercials specifically. Like sightings in public were not documented. So when it was something that was seen or talked about or noted, it was a massive deal. Now you can go to TMZ.com and get it every day for whoever you want. It was just he had some advantage, not taken away from him, but he had advantages to be bigger than life. So to speak.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Black or White dropped, like it dropped on network TV.
Really?
Yeah, like it was like Fox and CBS. There were like actual multiple stations. I mean, yeah, MTV, VH1, like they were ready to drop it, but there were like basically pregame shows to the dropping of a music video for him. And this is when history was out. This isn't the height of his prowess. This was he still got it. Like we were willing to do that then for him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a fair question, and I don't think that there is anything close other than Taylor Swift.
Right.
And some of that too is just the way that things were pushed. Like you look at, like John can help me with this too. Let's just say performing on Saturday Night Live was a much bigger deal than it is now.
Correct.
So you were given platforms like that, performing at the Super Bowl. I know it's still a huge deal, but it was different then because the times in which people could see you were so limited. Those times were that much bigger.
That makes a lot of sense.
They were when you appeared, whether it was on the Arsenio Hall show or whether it was on the Tonight Show or whether you didn't have the opportunities to see people, know people, hear people, talk to people like you do now. So they became larger than life a lot faster. So as far as overall popularity, she's got to be the only thing that's close. I can't think of anything right now.
I think internationally, maybe not necessarily domestically, although they are pretty big. It's probably that boy girl BTS. Like I know they're huge internationally, and they're kind of big here, but it's almost like they're messy. Like they're big throughout the end soccer, like they're big the entire world, but here, like they have a bit of a foothold, but nothing major.
Like I think Beyonce was on track for it, but she's kind of slowed down, like not doing as much anymore. So maybe not really out there as much to continue to sort of be that. But man, that was
Timberlake wanted to.
The other part too, like John, you have to explain this part, and Damian, this is the part that like you're not going to be able to get it. Music videos were such a part of life and like a different part of entertainment that when you put out a good music video, like it changed who you were as an artist. We treated John and I's generation treated music videos the way your generation treats Netflix. Like you were waiting for the next show to come out. Like let's go see what that is. Or you heard about it at school or you heard about it and y'all like, I got to go see this. The next music video dropped and you were just at home sitting in front of MTV or VH1 wanting to see what it was to try to see how it went down and how it was made. And then it made you that much more popular if it was popular because Madonna's music video was going to be on 77 times in a day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it made her even that much larger than life as well. So it's an interesting conversation. And there's something else that I was able to see that I want to see if you guys have seen and then just talk to you guys about what you've been watching. You guys can chime in as well. We'll do it next on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhoff, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Part of what makes this show is the show within the show. The biggest topic on the show always seems to be the show itself. This is a way to give you clones a way to interact with one another. Yes, we will be going through the chat. Yes, it'll be a part of the program. The only thing that could ruin the show are the old school clones spitting up the same bull crap that they always have. The jungle is out taking names and ready to dominate. Let's get it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman. All I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels.
Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.